In today's video, I'm going to show you this stack of recent back issues that I picked up during the second annual South Minneapolis comic book crawl. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. So I've got a back issue haul to share with you. These are all relatively recent back issues. I picked all of them up at a store called Dreamer'S Vault. They're a chain here in the Twin Cities, and they sell primarily new comic books, but then as those comic books become a few months old, they slide them over into their bins and they become the back issues. And one of the great things that Dreamer'S Vault does is that as soon as those comics become back issues, they mark them down and sell them at half off cover price. And for a collector like me, that's fantastic because I like to collect both new books and back issues. And when it comes to the new things, I don't always stay current on every title. So I might miss an issue here or there. Maybe there's an event that happens that I skip over and want to look for it later. Or maybe there's a title that I jumped on, while it was in progress. And so now I want to go back and fill in the earlier issues. And getting them half off cover price is a great way to fill those out without, breaking the bank. Now, on top of that, these books were part of a larger sale where they were selling all their back issues for 50 cents a piece. And that was because on that day, there was an event going on in the area called the second annual South Minneapolis comic book crawl. And so there were a number of stores and sellers and vendors that were participating, and many of them had special deals for that day only. Unfortunately, I was only able to get to Dreamer'S Vault just because of scheduling conflicts. But on the upside, I'll say, hey, at least I was able to get to Dreamer'S Vault and take advantage of this great 50-cent back issue sale. So I'll put links to Dreamer'S Vault and their information down below in case you want to learn more about them. But let's go ahead and get to the issues that I picked up at the sale. Starting things off here, got a few Transformers books that I picked up. These are all just variants of titles and issues that I already have. I try to keep current with all things Transformers, but then I still keep my eyes peeled for additional variants that might be interesting to me just because I like the cover art. And this first book is a good example of that, Transformers Galaxies #9. This is the B cover, and I just thought it was cool, like the graffiti kind of style with the paint cans in the background. I like that for a variant cover. I wouldn't have gotten it at full price, but 50 cents, sure, I'll add a variant to my collection. Also got this Transformers Galaxies #11. This is the A cover by Andrew Griffith. And of all the artists that work on the Transformers franchise today, he definitely stands out as one of the strong ones in terms of giving characters a nice Gen 1 kind of representation. So always appreciate his covers and his interior art for that matter. And I'll say, I guess Transformers Galaxies was a 12-issue limited series that told a few different tie-in stories that kind of added lore to what was going on in the main Transformers Ongoing series. Speaking of the Transformers Ongoing series, here's issue 33. This is the A cover, and I got this one just because turns out I liked this one better than the variant that I happened to choose when it was new. So thought I'd pick that up, being that it was only 50 cents. The next several books come from the current ongoing series of TMNT done by IDW. I'll tell you that I have very few, relatively speaking, issues of this series so far in the form of single issues. I got into this series very late. It's already up around 130 is about the issue number that's on today. And so most of the collecting I've done from this series is in the form of these right here. These are the oversized hardcover collected editions that IDW has been putting out. There are 14 of these to date, and each one collects probably about, a little more than a dozen, maybe 15 or so issues. And it has everything from the ongoing series to limited series to one-shots. So it's meant to be a nice comprehensive collection of the TMNT books from IDW. And I've been collecting these now. I've got 5 of the 14 that are currently available. And so this has been the primary way that I've been collecting turtles. And I'd still like to get the rest of these hardcovers, but they're expensive and it's going to take me a long time to piece them all together. And I don't even know if I'll ever actually get all of them. So in the meantime, as I'm trying to get those hardcovers, when I find single issues for 50 cents a piece, I'm going to pick those up as well, because I still love single issues. And as I said, I don't know that I'll ever get the hardcover collected edition. And if by chance I am able to get all the hardcovers, if I'm only paying 50 cents an issue on these single issues, it's a really low, small price to pay to double dip there. But at the sale, I got several issues, including 102, and then jump into 114, 118, that's a Kevin Eastman cover. And I think for just about every issue in this series, Kevin Eastman did a B cover, and then the main series artist would do like the A cover. And so what I picked up on this particular day was just a matter of, what they had available or which cover I liked better. There's 120, 121, 122, 123, and 126. So some good progress on that Turtles volume. Like I said, they're at about issue 130 or so now, and I got a long way to go before I have all of these. I was able to finish out this little tie-in series that goes back to the Marvel Secret Wars event series. There were a ton of different tie-in series, and I got several of them at the time. But now, as I find additional tie-ins that look interesting to me, I'll go ahead and pick them up. And I got the first issue. I think my first issue was like number 4, and I just like the cover, so I picked that up. And now since then, I've been able to piece together the rest of this. So nice to be able to check off one more tie-in series from Secret Wars. And this is one I am looking forward to reading, just because I like the zombie genre as well. So this should be a pretty good read. Here's a one-shot that I skipped when it was new. This is a tie-in to the King in Black event series, and it's just a one-shot under the Marauders title, so not part of the regular ongoing. And this type of book is one that I am much more likely to skip when it's new these days, because first of all, it's an additional issue that I have to buy in order to have everything, and it's also usually a higher price tag. So this one was $4.99 instead of $3.99, and so I skipped it when it was new. Wasn't ever thinking I would get it, but here it was for 50 cents, and so I figured, why not? I am a completionist as well, so I can add that title to my collection because I like the Marauders. And this is also a great cover with Kate Pryde and Lockheed on it. So happy to have found that one. Patience oftentimes pays off when it comes to waiting for some of these issues to see if you can get them cheaper down the road. I got the final 2 issues from this volume of Excalibur to complete my run. 26 was the final issue, so now I have the whole thing. One bummer that I didn't notice until after the fact is that on this issue 26, there's some damage. You can see over here on the left, it kind of looks like the ink was rubbed off, kind of white there where the colors come away. And then also, if I hold it at the angle, you can see where the glare picks it up. Right up in here, there's some kind of schmutz on there. I don't even know what it was. It's not sticky, but definitely looks like something, either somebody touched it with dirty hands or something got on there at some point. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. And now I'm torn. And you let me know if you face a similar dilemma. So on the one hand, as a sensible comic reader, I look at this and I say, you know what? That issue is never going to be a key and super valuable, right? It's probably always going to be a dollar book or cheaper, like many books are today. So it's not a dig on the book itself, but nothing's going to drive the price up significantly. So there's a part of me that says, you know what, be happy with it. You've got the book, you can read it, and you'll probably forget that it's damaged. You just stick it in a bag with a board and forget about it and move on with your life. But then there's the other part of me that's kind of the OCD collector that says I need to have it in better condition because, yeah, even though it's only a 50 cent or a dollar book, I can find it for 50 cents or a dollar without that damage. And so there's a part of me that's still going to want to go out there and find a replacement copy. Which side will win? Time will tell. Will I remember that I still want this, or will I go ahead and find it? I don't know. So if I get an additional copy, you will see it here on a future video. But let me know, how do you face that dilemma in your own collecting? Or maybe it's not a dilemma. Maybe it's a blanket, I'm always going to replace it. Or maybe it's a, no, I'm just a reader copy kind of person. I'd be happy with it and move on with my life. But let me know your thoughts on that. This book took me a long time to find. Back when this issue and others, at the time came out, Michael Cho was doing this series of variants, and I think they were called like two-tone variants. And he had a number of them that I thought were great. I just liked the style of these covers. And this is one that I've been hunting for a while. Every time I go out and look for recent back issues, this one would elude me. And finally, I was able to track it down for 50 cents. So that was a good feeling to find this issue at the sale. Found a couple issues from this series called Naktera from Image Comics. I know the first arc has completed, but I don't think anything's come out since like June. So I don't know if it's going to continue or if they're just taking a gap between between this first story and the next. I was going to jump on this one when it first came out, and then I decided not to. And so I've been piecing this together as back issues. And yeah, I'm getting closer, probably a little more than halfway there in piecing these together. But I really do like that cover on issue 6. That's a good one. So I like the idea of the story with, all the power going out. I know it's not brand new, but it's an intriguing story nonetheless. So I'm going to keep chipping away at that. Here was a one-off I wasn't expecting to pick up. This is Angela, Queen of Hell, number 6. This was just a 7-part series. Don't even know the story, but for me, I really liked Jane Foster as the Mighty Thor. And so when I see different cover appearances, whether that's a standard cover or a variant, or if I know the interior story involves her in some way, I'm probably going to pick that up just because I like to collect her different appearances. Not looking to do it comprehensively, just as I find them, I'll pick those up. So that was a good find, a great cover find. And she's part of the interior story as well. Here's an example of a current series that I started rather late in reading. I am trying to get Captain Marvel new every month now, but I'm also trying to go back and fill in the earlier issues. It's not going to be terribly easy. I don't find them all the time, and I know there's a few keys in this run as well, and those will probably be the most challenging to find, in the dollar bins. But I did make some good progress at the sale this day, and I'll also say that I recently heard that they're doing an omnibus of this volume, and they're calling it a volume 1, so maybe that means they'll continue depending on how sales go. But it starts with, it's all Kelly Thompson's run. It has the first 26 issues of the ongoing, and then it's got the Star Limited series, and then a couple of other one-shots. Then I'll probably pick that up, partly because I'm not sure if I'll ever find all of the issues as single issues for cheap, and partly because I am just really starting to like the omnibus format, and so my collecting habits are kind of learning to strike a balance between collected editions and single issues. So still a work in progress, but that's probably an omnibus I'll collect or pick up to have in my collection on the shelf. And at the same time, I'll continue to chip away at some of these single issues as I can find them. But at the sale, made some good progress. Got issue 19. This issue 20, which I did not realize at the time, is in fact the second printing. It's a pretty cool cover, but I'm the kind of person that will probably still pick up a first printing if I can find it someday for, similar kind of price. Was very happy to find issue 23. This is one of the keys in this volume, so I rarely ever see it. in the dollar bins. This has got the first appearance of Brigid, is that her name? It's basically Thor's daughter from a different reality, and so that's her first appearance. And then I found issue 24, I think that's her there in black. And then I got issue 27 with a nice Marco Cicchetto cover. So some good progress on Captain Marvel. Got a long way to go still, but happy to have found the issues that I did. All right, these next several books are examples of the kind of thing that if they were full price or maybe even just half cover price, I probably wouldn't have gotten them. But because they were so cheap and because I like the characters, it makes it a lot easier for me to pick those up. They also had a good chunk of this limited series, so that made it more appealing as well. This is Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures, so it's kind of more the cartoony character designs. You obviously can't tell that from this blank sketch cover for number 1. And I normally wouldn't get a cover like this because I'm not the kind of person who typically goes to conventions and has artists draw on them. But this was the only cover that they had for number 1, and I didn't want to skip number 1, so I went and grabbed that. But then I got number 2. And you can see better character designs on these other covers here. There's number 3. Number 5, I like that cover a lot. They did not have number 4. And then number 6. So between it being 50 cents a piece, they had 5 of the 6 issues in the limited series, and I like the franchises. Those are the drivers for picking this series up at the sale. I guess pretty similarly here, this is from the first crossover between Batman and the Turtles done by DC and IDW. I'm not looking to get this full volume. I just really like this cover. This is number 2 of 6. 2 of 6? Yeah, 2 of 6. And this sketch done by Freddie Williams is actually the 4th printing. But again, it was a cover buy. I just really like the art on that one, so happy to have found that one. And then the last 3 books I've got to show you come from a limited series that I was very happy to find. As soon as I discovered this series, I knew I wanted to get a copy of it, but I didn't want to pay full cover price because they're $5.99 a piece. But they are Robin and Batman by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. And I just love this creative team. I liked what they did on Image Comics Descender and then Ascender, and so I thought this team up would be a good dynamic duo, if you will, for doing Robin and Batman. Love especially the kind of the painted watercolor look of the art style. So really looking forward to reading this, and very, very happy to have found this series all at once and for just 50 cents a piece. I mean, that's just a great deal when this would have been $18 for the whole thing at cover price, and now to get the whole thing for $1.50, fantastic. So a great find and a great way to wrap up this haul from Dreamer's Vault. All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this 50-cent haul from Dreamer's Vault that I picked up during the 2nd annual South Minneapolis comic book crawl. I do hope you saw something that you liked, but what about you? Let me know, how's it been going for you in your own comic book adventures? Have you found any cool sales or conventions or shows to attend and have been able to fill in any cool runs or find any keys or books that, you know, maybe you weren't looking for but just jumped out at you so you add it to your collection? Let me know down below. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.